Hold fast. What's happening, man? What's happening? Yeah, man. What's cracking? I'm gonna have to do a live stream on that on Caitlin Clark later on, man. Press 1 if you can hear me. Press 1 if you can hear me. All right. Yeah, man. Thuggish behavior, man. They thugging my girl, man. They thugging my girl Cece, man. Caitlyn, man. It ain't right with how they doing her, man. It ain't right. It's not right how they doing Caitlyn. Something needs to be done about this. Something needs to be done about this. This can't continue. This can't continue. Bam. She didn't even try to reach for the ball, man. Fever too nice, man. They don't have any thugs on their team, man. Oh man. Ugh.
There. And Marina Mabrey.
They treating her like a pinball, man. They treating Caitlyn like a pinball.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there. And Marina Mabrey. I missed that one.
They treating her like a pinata, man. Yeah, prison ball, man. And she just got back, man. The league almost folded while she was gone, man. The league was about to contract, man. Now she back and they still treating her the same old way, man. You'd have thought that the memo would have went out like, look, y'all, when she come back, y'all be nice, man. Everybody play nice when she come back. No.
Idona. Oh, I missed that one too.
They just bullying her, man. God damn. They just bullying her, man. Oh, God, Jesus fucking Christ. This is assault. This is bad, man. This shouldn't be, man. It shouldn't be allowed to happen, man. Over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. You're treating her like a nerd. It's how you treat nerds in school. It's like, wow, man. You treat her like a nerd in school. Sad, man. It's not cool, man. Yeah. Well, this last crop of WNBA players, they probably the best ones to ever come in the league. as far as looks wise. Mm. Whew.
Point lead.
Wow. The face of the league assaulted by 3 people and nobody got kicked out of the game. WNBA ratings were in the gutter when Caitlin Clark was out, and they just gonna let her get hurt again. I made several videos on this. I'm gonna be dropping them. Soon, man. I made several videos on this. I'm gonna be dropping them. I'll be dropping them soon. I made several videos. I'll be dropping them soon. I made several videos on this. Said she needs Charles Oakley, Charlotte Oakley. Carla Oakley. Need somebody. He said, jealous, mean girl, bitch, bitch. Yeah. If she was black, they wouldn't allow this, man. If she was black, they would have been nipped this shit in the bud. This would have got nipped in the bud after the first time. Or the second time. Maybe the second time it would have got nipped in the bud. Well, make sure you subscribe to Ock Nation TV. I'll be doing several videos on this. I may do a live stream tomorrow on Ock Nation Gold about this. I may do a live stream about this tomorrow. I don't know. I don't want to promise anything. I'm thinking about it. Wow. Brutal. Let's get the show started, man. eh.
We want to get back to the breaking news of police on the scene of a double shooting in Mayfair.
Yeah, this happened about three and a half hours ago. Hank, what do you have now? What are they doing?
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Mike, Alex. Yeah, the driver of that dark colored BMW there, you're looking in the back alley, 7200 block of Walker Street up here in Mayfair. You're only not even a half a block south of Cotman Avenue, guys. Quiet residential neighborhood, but it was just after 3 o'clock this morning. Shots broke out back here. One man is dead. He was the man behind the wheel of that dark colored BMW right there. A 30-year-old man shot in the chest, according to police. There's also a 49-year-old male who was hit in the hands and the legs, who was just inside the building that car sits adjacent to. As your camera looks at it, adjacent to it, to the right, guys. But it happened just after 3 o'clock in the morning. Police trying to get the facts organized best they can, but they know they got those two victims, the ones that I just laid out for you. They say it was a home invasion. We did speak with Chief Inspector Scott Small earlier, but just now, a couple of minutes ago, I spoke with a young man named Trey Mattis, who has 2 degrees of separation from the 30-year-old victim. Here's what he told us.
It's kind of crazy because I know somebody that knows him, and I just saw him earlier in the morning, and to come to find out that this happened last night is crazy. I live like what, maybe 4 or 5 doors down. I would not expect this to happen. Like, I just saw the guy maybe 5, 6, 7 hours ago.
Yeah, and Mike, Alex, police say they're looking for 2 shooters. They say that witnesses are cooperating. We don't know exactly who they are. The motive is unclear at the moment. Police insist that it has to have been targeted when you consider the hour and the specificity of the location. Police back here still collating video from at least 2 cameras. If you can see 2, there's probably a couple that we can't see, trying to scrape together as much of this as they possibly can. As your camera looks at it, guys, this is where it happened. So any surveillance cameras that are focused back here on this back alley might possibly be able to capture your shooters, as well as any, if any, vehicle they came and left in. And we don't even know if they ran up the alley or drove up it. So a lot of questions left, but one is dead and one is injured up here in Mayfair this morning. Guys.
Good Lord. All right.
The home invasion turns deadly. Police say gunfire rang out in the 7200 block of Walker Street just after 3 o'clock this morning. It all began with a knock at the back door. Police say one man was shot and wounded inside that home. A second man shot and killed as he sat in the car outside. It is Tuesday afternoon. I'm Brian Taft.
And I'm Sarah Bloomquist. The big story on Action News is the search for 2 suspects believed to have been involved in this deadly double shooting.
Action News reporter Jessica Cartelli has been in contact with investigators all day long. She's live at police headquarters with the latest this afternoon. Jessica.
Well, Brian and Sarah, police are trying to figure out what the motive was behind this deadly home invasion. As you mentioned, one man killed on the spot, another fighting for his life. Philadelphia police are investigating the motive behind a home invasion in Tacony just after 3 o'clock this morning. Police say 2 men knocked on the back door of a home on the 7200 block of Walker Street and were led inside.
They went, found him in the basement, and shot him.
He was taken to Jefferson Torresdale Hospital. As the gunmen were leaving the scene, police say they shot a man who was sitting in the driver's seat of a black BMW in the back alley. Police believe he had just returned home. Alex Almeida tells Action News that earlier in the evening, he'd been drinking at the home with friends, but left before the home invasion. A short time later, he got a call that there had been a shooting and his friend had been killed. One man who asked to be identified as Dion runs a nonprofit on the corner of Walker and Cotman called Philly Be Safe. He organizes safe activities for the children in the neighborhood.
Out here every day, telling them to, watch out, be safe. Some things can happen, just so happen. I was just telling them that, and here we go. Something happened in this alleyway.
Police are investigating whether the victims knew the suspects. The victims' friends say they hope surveillance video will lead police to the suspects. And there were several cameras around that area. Police are looking at that video tonight and also asking anyone who may have any information to please call 911. We're live at City Police Headquarters. Jessica Cartalia, Channel 6 Action News. Back to you.
Okay, Jessica, thank you.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Well, she remained calm and remembered how to float, just like her grandmother taught her years ago. When her father jumped in to rescue her, she ended up saving him by showing him how to remain calm and float.
This is my dad's car. This is the bridge. I'm standing here. Her car comes and hit the back of my dad's truck, and I'm smashed. My dad's car bounces off of me, and I'm smashed, and then I go over like this.
Battered, bruised, and awaiting her 5th surgery on her broken pelvis. Kirsten Fenwick tells 11 News a remarkable story of survival. On Memorial Day weekend, Kirsten went fishing from a Hanover Street bridge with her dad, younger brother, and sister. Around 4 p.m., she spotted a Chevy Trailblazer swerving all over the road directly towards them. As the driver plowed into her dad's car, Kirsten closed her eyes and in a split second found herself in the Patapsco River.
It's like those scary movies. I swam up like this, and I swam up again because I was deep in the water. And I couldn't feel my legs, so I had to float. At first, I panicked, and when I panicked, I realized I went under the water. So in my mind, I'm telling myself, don't panic.
Kirsten's dad jumped in to save her, but when he tried to pull her to shore, they both sank.
I kept screaming, float, just float, float, float. I couldn't teach him how to float physically, so what he was doing was just looking at what I was doing.
She saw her dad go under and thought he drowned.
The waves are like over my ears, the water is over my ears, and the waves are pushing me farther away from him, and the water's over my ears like this. So I couldn't really hear, but I heard him scream. So now my heart is like, okay, he's alive. But then I heard him scream to other people and say, get her, not me. In my mind, I'm like, no, they need to get you because you're panicking a lot and you're basically drowning.
According to police, the Chevy belongs to a Maryland driver with Virginia tags. The family says police told them the driver didn't have insurance and the SUV had a broken axle. But police wouldn't confirm that to 11 News Investigates. As previously reported by 11 News Investigates in Maryland, vehicles must be titled, registered, and insured within 60 days of moving here. But Virginia allows non-residents to register, unlike surrounding states. According to Baltimore police, the driver was not arrested, but they did issue several citations.
It's not enough because damage has happened to Kirsten that's going to be lifetime.
Flip thing over, reel the string in until it feels a little tight.
Meanwhile, Kirsten is writing a book about her experiences and counting her blessings.
I'm just sitting there for a long time, asking God to keep me alive and just keep floating and keep floating and keep floating. And eventually someone grabbed me.
Sadly, during the rescue, someone stole items out of her father's truck, like a cooler and fishing gear. Kirsten says she's glad that the tragedy happened to her and not her younger sister. As she set up a GoFundMe account to help pay medical bills. You can find a link to that at GoFundMe by...
Jeez. Damn. Woo.
Also tonight, some relief after a 4-year-old boy in the middle of an Amber Alert was found safe.
And the man accused of killing 28-year-old Alexis Foreman is locked up. 4-year-old Kai Foreman was found at a home in Virginia Beach early this morning. The suspect, Tylee Scott, is charged with second-degree murder. Now, this all started when police were called to East Liberty Street after a woman was shot and killed yesterday morning. 10 on your sides, Regina Mobley has new information on this case. Regina?
Aisha, tonight we have uncovered disturbing allegations about the suspect that concern domestic violence. As the investigation continues, we have a warning about the ripple effects of this crime.
We're talking about a child, 4 years old child, witnessed everything. This is no solution.
A single patrol car stands watch as grieving loved ones are surrounded by family and friends. The morning before, 28-year-old Alexis Foreman was shot and killed, allegedly by Tylee Scott. Activist Bilal Muhammad grew up with members of the Foreman family.
Now there's 2 or 3 generations are grieving right now.
Overnight, the crime scene expanded to another community in Virginia Beach. A resident told 10 on your side the SWAT team took the suspect into custody and recovered the 4-year-old who was unharmed. According to court documents, 27-year-old Scott has an extensive criminal allegations history that includes credit card larceny, strangling, assault to his girlfriend, threatened her with a firearm, and then attempting to get his girlfriend to purchase him a firearm while he was out on bond. In 2018, a grandmother reported Scott threatened her family. As loved ones prepare to bury the young mother, Muhammad is preparing to respond to the ripple effects of domestic violence.
We're talking about a person that lost their life behind not thinking we are going to prison. The child loses his mother. The child away from the father. The father family are hurting. The mother family definitely hurting.
And we anticipate Scott will be arraigned later this week. Regina Mobley, 10 on your side.
Wow. Wow.
Now, actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over sexual harassment allegations. The complaint filed in Los Angeles accuses Perry of creating a, quote, coercive, sexually exploitative dynamic with actor Derek Dixon. Dixon was in 2 of Tyler Perry's shows, The Oval and Ruthless. In a statement to NBC News, Perry's team says this appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam, calling the allegations fabricated claims. Let's bring in NBC's Stephen Romo, who's following this. Stephen, what more do we know about the allegations here?
Yeah, Tom, just going through those allegations in this lawsuit seeking $260 million in damages, alleging sexual harassment, assault, retaliation as well. The direct details include inappropriate touching. As you mentioned, Dixon starred in The Oval with Tyler Perry, and we got this statement from inside the complaint. Tyler Perry has been using his power and influence to molest, abuse, and sexually assault impressionable and vulnerable employees and actors who look to him for guidance and mentorship while pursuing their dreams. So you can read from that. Implies there are more people.
I always knew Tyler Perry was gay, man. I always knew it. Like, he just had a gay energy, man, and it wasn't Medea. It wasn't Medea, because a lot of dudes have dressed up like women for comedy skits. It wasn't Medea. A lot of dudes have dressed up like women. He just had gay. I just felt like he was gay. It didn't even cross my mind that he couldn't be gay. It was like I was 100% sure that Tyler Perry was gay. Like 100% sure. I never questioned it. I would have put my house on it that Tyler Perry was gay. But this doesn't surprise me, man. This doesn't come as a surprise. This doesn't come as a surprise. Make sure y'all hitting the like button, man. Jesus Christ. Support the channel. Hit the like button, man. What y'all don't like the channel no more? Y'all done moved on, man. Y'all cheating on me, man. Jeez. If we get some likes up in here, man. I knew Tyler Perry was sweet. I knew he was sweeter than sweeter than a motherfucker. And that's and he can be that. He a rich man, man. He's a rich man, no. He's a rich man. He's a rich man. That he don't go far, don't anyway. You can survive on your old man, honey. You can survive on your old man, honey. He's a rich man. But he don't get far because he like dick and he like to play. You can survive on some old dick, Tyler. You can survive on some old dick, Tyler. You a rich man. Shout out to my man, Big Larry is in the building. Salute to Deluxe 247, a.k.a. Cal Ripken, a.k.a. the real MVP. Coming through once again. Oh. Ladies, is this guy handsome that Tyler Perry was trying to screw? Ladies, do you guys think this guy's handsome? Look like a goddamn glider mixed with an ombrito to me. I don't know what the fuck he is. That's his name. I don't know. I don't know any of these people, man. I don't know anybody that became famous after 2008. But he is gay. That's why Tyler Perry was hitting on him, because he's gay.
People who are alleging this than just Dixon. We have a bit of a timeline here for the relationship that we know, the professional relationship between these two men and the allegations made in this complaint, saying that they met in 2019. The lawsuit alleges that then their relationship moved forward with this professional advancement. And in 2019, Perry offering Dixon a small role in Ruthless. And then in January 2020, that is when Dixon accuses Perry of sexually assaulting him in his home. And then the following month,
get the fuck out of here, dude. I ain't trying to hear this shit. Tyler Perry ain't sexually assault you. You just doing this he too. This is this he too shit, man. Stop this shit, man. Stop this bullshit, man. Fucking with this man. This man was trying to get some ass. He was trying to get some booty. And you was trying to give up some booty. You was trying to give up some booty, and Tyler Perry was trying to get some booty. It was a match made in heaven. And I guess he got the booty because you said he assaulted you. So Tyler Perry got the booty. You know, Tyler Perry's 6'5". He's a big man. He's a big man.
Dixon alleges that Perry offered him a series regular role in the Oval. Now, we do have a comment from Tyler Perry's attorneys saying that this individual appears to have been setting Tyler Perry up. They say that they are alleging that this is a scam and saying, quote, Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. Now, we've also reached out to the attorney for Dixon, and he said that these allegations in the lawsuit stand for themselves. So just the very beginning of this process, but a lot of people are paying attention to this. Tyler Perry, quite successful, quite a bit of fame here, Tom.
Yep, it will get a lot of attention. Stephen Romo, thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember.
Yeah, it's going after Tyler Perry, man. We got big homo alone, man. Trying to they're trying to what's the word? They're trying to diddy him, man. And now a bunch of other people gonna come out. People gonna start coming out the woodwork. Yeah, man. Tyler Perry sexually assaulted me too, man. He too.
Is what?
I said Malcolm alleged that some of Elijah's women were underage secretaries, and can you expound on that?
Yeah, well, I guess they were, because they were there. I seen them. I seen them myself. It's all true. It's all true.
Good evening, messenger. You convinced us that you were the last messenger.
Wow.
How many other bastard children do you have?
Wow.
Mr. Muhammad. But first, we forgot to hit the Cash App, like Umar John. Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Silent Hero.
Yeah, man. Make sure y'all hit the Cash Apps. Take the $5 challenge. Support the channel, guys. Support the channel. We the only ones doing this live in the morning, man. Support the channel, goddammit.
SILENTHEROS. Shout out to our first supporter, RVI. He donated $25 to Captain Muhammad. Told him, go get a steak, man. And June 2025, page 92, 93, The Bible of Boxing, Mr. Captain Leon Muhammad, the Hall of Famer, and go get his book, man. Go get the book.
Please get that book.
Go get the book, champ. Go get the book, y'all. Madison Square Garden, June 14th. The worst fighter.
So they know this is only book one. Book two coming out in September.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Now, Fred, so they'll know this. And I ain't with the police, but.
Family gets back from Hawaii June 17th.
Damn, that dude. I thought he was gonna say what was on the what was in the title, but he just never got around to it. So yeah, we got to move on, man. Tried to play that video. Never got around to it. You can rely on your own.
Toby Hasty is mourning the loss of his brother, who apparently got into an argument while in traffic here in Dundalk, got punched, and died the next day.
Damn.
This is security video obtained by 11 News Investigates. We want to warn you, it is extremely hard to watch. It shows 3 people walking up to 62-year-old John Hasty, known as Stan. Hasty is punched and falls to the ground, hitting his head. This took place June 4th. He died.
That punk ass kid gonna do fucking a shit ton of fucking time for just trying to be a tough guy with a 60-year-old. Damn, you
Hasty,
stupid fuck.
known as
It's really hard. The jails were made for people like this kid. Jails were made for people like this kid, man. Jails were made for people like this kid.
Stan. Hasty is punched and falls to the ground, hitting his head. This took place June 4th. He died a day later.
He was a very compassionate, church-going man.
Baltimore police say they initially responded to a call for an aggravated assault, but as officers investigated, they learned this started as road rage. Hasty's brother has questions.
There was the incident going down the street. Then he goes away. In my mind, the road rage incident was over. He has left. He's gotten away from it.
Witnesses told police the road rage incident started on Dundalk Avenue with Hasty and people in another car arguing as they drove down the street. Hasty pulled into this gas station at Holabird and Dundalk Avenues.
And he's famous for completely running out of gas all the time.
Police say the other car followed. The argument continued. Then Hasty was punched. The three people involved then got back into their car and took off. Later, 18-year-old Jaden Simpson of Dundalk was arrested and charged.
Damn, Jaden Simpson, you stupid fucktard. You're going to do like 30 years in prison for this shit, you dumbass.
Hasty was punched. The three people involved then got back into their car and took off. Later, 18-year-old Jaden Simpson of Dundalk was arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter. The victim's brother says
he'll do like 15.
Originally, the suspect was charged with second-degree assault.
This guy has a side to his story too. Right. But my brother can't tell his side.
A court charging document goes into greater detail. It indicates from witnesses that Mr. Hasty instructed the occupants of the other vehicle to follow him into the gas station. And after Hasty was hit and fell to the ground, Mr. Simpson then stood over Mr. Hasty and spat on him.
That's beyond heinous. That's just no compassion for another human being.
Simpson was charged and has been released. Reporting from Dundalk.
Damn, that kid's home already. That's crazy. Jaden, he probably looked like he might have been biracial. Jaden, that's a black name. Jeez.
Again, and she fell down and hit her. Watch focuses on the case of a grandmother who died after being beaten in broad daylight.
And the weapon used, an aluminum baseball bat. NBC4's Carrie Charles joins us now with more about this case. Carrie?
Well, Jen, these are the people who love Yolanda Vaughn. Children, grandchildren, other family members, and friends. She's gone. It's not clear how she and her accused killer knew each other. What we do know is that these folks are reeling from an attack that happened a little more than a month ago. Tonight, Columbus Police, the U.S. Marshals Service, and the victim's family are asking for your help in finding the person responsible for this violent assault.
Yolanda Vaughn was 54. She gave birth to 3 children and adopted 2 others.
I would say one of her biggest qualities is that she cared for people. She was a living individual.
Robert Vaughn Jr. falls right in the middle.
Just an amazing person, my friend, big time friend. I would say one of my best friends.
Vaughn died following injuries sustained during a brutal attack.
A child of God, a believer in Jesus Christ, to be my teacher, a woman, who loved music.
And this week's Warrant Watch, the search for the suspect in Vaughn's death, 31-year-old Erica Carr. These are previous mugshots. In both, you'll notice she has the word nephew tattooed across her neck.
This is violence at its worst. She strikes her numerous times. The lady falls down on the ground and she stands over top her and continues to strike her with this aluminum bat. And then the lady gets up staggering and she pushed her again and she fell down and hit her head on the cement.
And 90 minutes later, Vaughn was gone. Court filings show the attack happened on the 2300 block of Hiawatha Park Drive, May 5th of this year, around 12:30 in the afternoon. Carr is now facing a murder charge.
What was the purpose of doing something like that? Like, nobody deserves that.
Vaughn and Robert Sr. were married for about 23 years and remained good friends after their divorce.
I mean, I could see if somebody was trying to, you break in your home, you defend yourself. But to my knowledge, that wasn't the case. So why would you do that? And I do hope that justice is served. You deserve whatever is coming to you.
Those who love Vaughn are left with memories, like when she had her face painted during Hallelujah night at church. Vaughn's son wants Carr to know.
You took somebody who mattered a lot to people, and you may not care. And, I prayed for you, and I've also prayed for my family. It's hard to say that I forgive you, but it'd be hard to not with my beliefs. But I do want you to serve justice, and however God sees fit is what I want to happen.
Marshall Black did not have details about what led to the attack and says, frankly, it doesn't matter, especially since this doesn't appear to be a case of self-defense. Here is another look at 31-year-old Erica Carr. Her last known address was on the 2300 block of Clinton Street. Remember, she has the word nephew tattooed on her neck. If you've seen her, scan the QR code on your screen. You will be taken to a page with contact information for the U.S. Marshal Service. Remember, all tips can be made anonymously.
Wow.
It was hard for me.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a local family shattered after Metro Police say this man shot his girlfriend and her children in Madison over the weekend. One of those children was killed. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar in studio after speaking with witnesses and a member of this victim's family.
You can see these yellow and red flowers are there to honor the 4-year-old girl who was shot to death. Metro Police say the shooting of the kid and mom happened inside of a minivan right by this area. The victim's family tells me it all started over an argument between the couple.
I'm really, really hurt. Nobody ever should have to go through that.
Sonia Sterling is in shock. Metro Police say Jovian Smith shot her cousin, Soraya Talley. The two were dating. Police say he also shot at 4 of her 5 kids. Soraya's 4-year-old daughter died. Officers say it happened inside of a car near Westchester Drive and Brick Church Pike. They say the call came in around 10 Saturday night. A neighbor, who doesn't want to show his face, saw some of it unfold.
And I could hear somebody screaming for help.
He tells me the 13-year-old girl knocked on his door with her 1-year-old brother in her arms.
I could see that there was blood going down her leg, and there was blood on the baby's shirt.
Soraya explained what happened to her first cousin, Bridget Leonard.
She told him she didn't want him anymore. So that's when he got very upset. He threw her phone out the window. He grabbed a hold to the steering wheel, trying to steer her into a bad accident. That's when he pulled out the gun and started shooting.
Smith was arrested shortly after. Sterling tells me the couple had been at her home for a family reunion. Talley is from Illinois. Smith is from Iowa. Sterling tells me the couple and kids went to the store for noodles, but never came back.
You was here less than 24 hours, and something like this happened to you and your kids. It's real heartbreaking.
Talley and her children were hoping to start a new life.
She's in very, very bad pain. She got 2 kids that's in ICU. They're on a breathing machine.
And now the family is fighting for their life at a nearby hospital. Smith is in a Davidson County jail. He is being held on a $2.6 million bond. He is facing multiple charges, including criminal homicide. Reporting in studio, Karen.
Wow. Wow.
We do want to warn you that video is tough to watch, but friends believe it is the reason. You have 3 people in custody right now, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 21-year-old. Police late this afternoon confirming it was a family dispute that led up to the shooting right here in the middle of the street. a single shot.
Ooh, he popped him. He just shot dude right there.
Recorded from a nearby apartment window showing the aftermath of a deadly shooting in the middle of Bleach Street in downtown Milwaukee late Monday night. It appears an argument leads up to the gunfire.
He put it up to her and she said, "Don't shoot me." And he shot her and she stumbled all the way over here and she fell on the floor. And she just sat there shaking.
The video, too graphic to show, captures the victim stumble onto the sidewalk into someone's arms as first responders arrive.
Oh my God, they shot him, bro. They just shot him.
The victim, actually a woman, friends identifying her as 29-year-old Ashley Hudson. And she lived over here?
Yeah, she lived up in those apartments.
Annalisa Thompson describes Hudson as a mother and supportive friend.
And it was just so messed up. It was so messed up and they just took off and they just didn't care.
The video showing the moment those involved in the argument get in this black car and drive away. Right now, police have made 3 arrests, a 15-year-old boy, a 16-year-old girl, and a 21-year-old woman. Thompson says they are all related to Hudson.
To know that there are 3 people in custody right now, how does that make you feel?
I feel great. And I feel like those videos are like all the evidence there needs to be.
And so, Hannah, this is just the latest in a string of shootings in downtown recently.
Right, Blake. Since June 8th, Milwaukee police have responded to 5 separate shootings here in the downtown area. On June 8th, you had the quadruple shooting near MLK and McKinley. Police have not announced any arrests in that case just yet.
All right, that video just very difficult to watch. Hannah Hilliard reporting live for us tonight at 5.
Wow.
Village of Milwaukee leaders are meeting tonight to try and prevent fights like this from happening again.
What's going on here? Waukesha County reporter Brett Lemoyne is live with how a day of soaking up the sun ended with someone in a headlock. Brett?
Yeah, Ted and Kim, the Village Board of Trustees asked for additional police patrols in this area after an incident last week. More than 100 people gathered in a circle on the beach to watch a fight. We blurred the videos so that we don't identify any minors involved. Last week, teenagers didn't just hit the beach, they hit each other.
And 2 kids were just like wrestling. It was very, very loud.
Cell phone video shows a large crowd gathered at Lakefront Park in the village of Pewaukee.
Everybody was down here. There were multitudes of schools down here.
Village trustee Bob Rohde says warm weather and school letting out for the summer made for a chaotic scene.
We want to make sure there's a safe environment down here.
A Village of Pewaukee police officer broke up one of the fights. The department has been making extra patrols in the area ever since.
We usually try to keep it positive in our store, so we'll ask them to leave or quiet down before we take any other actions.
Business owners and park goers complained to the village about the large crowds, physical games, and profane language. People also complained about groups not using the crosswalk, putting their safety and others at risk.
Right? No bad words.
Mother of 4, Tina Sanfilippo, believes most teens are good, but she admits their choice of language is not.
This is a place where everyone should feel welcome to come and enjoy. There's no reason that people can't be respectful here while they're here. And maybe there just needs to be some signage up.
Rohde is helping the village get ready for its biggest night of the year. Between 8,000 and 10,000 people are expected around Pewaukee Lake for the 4th of July fireworks. Rohde hopes everyone behaves.
And the vast majority of the kids down here were respectful. There were probably a few that were not.
Now, Village of Pewaukee police tell us no citations were issued and no arrests were made from this incident, although one individual who said he was involved in the fight told us that he was banned from the beach for a day. The Village of Pewaukee is talking about this issue at their board meeting tonight. It starts at 6 o'clock. Reporting live in the village, Brett Lemoyne, Fox 6 News.
All right.
Mm. I want to get into the story that I wanted to show y'all anyway. I want to get into the story I wanted to show you guys anyway. This one right here.
Claims the shooting was retaliation.
Right now at 5, she was sitting in a chair on the sidewalk when a person shot her in the head. A memorial for Cassandra Brown grows in Jacksonville's north side after she was killed during a block party over the weekend. Friends of Brown say that she was someone who was always willing to help anyone in need.
And tonight we're hearing from her son, who's one of many people asking for answers and seeking justice. News4JAX reporter Yvette Sanchez gives us his message. He says this should have never happened.
My mom is not a random murderer. She's not a random murderer. She's a murder victim because the state attorney's office and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office failed her.
Calvin Brown is distraught after his mother, Cassandra Brown, was shot in the head while sitting in a chair on the sidewalk at the intersection of Growth.
Sitting in the chair on the sidewalk. And get sprayed with bullets. And life just goes on. And don't nobody know nothing. That is crazy.
She's not a random murderer. She's a murder victim because the state attorney's office and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office failed her.
Calvin Brown is distraught after.
So he said the state attorney's office failed her. What about the YNs who did the shooting, sir? What about the YNs who actually did the shooting, man? Hey, man, support the channel, guys. We need some supporters, man. We need some sponsors for tonight's show, man. This guy, man, I gotta see why he's blaming the state's attorney. Let me give him a chance.
Because the state attorney's office and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office failed her.
Calvin Brown is distraught after his mother, Cassandra Brown, was shot in the head while sitting in a chair on the sidewalk at the intersection of Growth and Everson Street during a block party.
That is an everyday scene. They gather there, about 75 to 100 plus people every day, listening to music, playing cards, smoking, drinking, laughing.
Damn. That's a lot of niggas, man. She struck out. If she was hanging around 100 niggas every day, her days were numbered. Press 1.
After his mother, Cassandra Brown, was shot in the head while sitting in a chair on the sidewalk at the intersection of Growth and Everson Street during a block party.
That is an everyday scene. They gather there, about 75 to 100 plus people every day, listening to music, playing cards, smoking, drinking, laughing, dancing every day.
Calvin claims the shooting was retaliation against his mother, who testified in a shooting.
Oh, she testified in the shooting. Okay. Damn. Wow. This was gangland. She was targeted. Nah, man, I'm not going to be on here long, man. I'm just going to go ahead and do this story and get up out of here, man. I'm not going to fucking, kill myself to stay up all night, man.
Against his mother, who testified in a shooting case on the same street back in 2024 that put that person behind bars for 30 years. Now, Calvin says he thinks his mother.
Damn, she put a nigga behind bars for 30 years who probably deserved to be behind bars for 30 years. So she testified against the brother, and then she testified against the brother, and then she just hanging out. And as in the black community, niggas can't do shit, but when it comes to killing somebody, they're very good at that. Niggas can't nail two sticks together. Niggas can't fucking mix one fucking bag of concrete. A nigga can't make a fucking dig a hole and fill it with concrete to stick a goddamn mailbox in it. You could have 20 niggas and they couldn't fucking build a mailbox and make it stand up straight. But when it comes to killing somebody for snitching, they on it.
People every day listening to music, playing cards, smoking, drinking, laughing, dancing every day.
Calvin claims the shooting was retaliation against his mother, who testified in a shooting case on the same street back in 2024 that put that person behind bars for 30 years. Now, Calvin says he thinks his mother's death is directly connected to her testifying in the case.
The dude chasing my mama around my cousin's car in that same location that she was shot and killed at.
Now,
with guns, he had came to our house. And this is why my mom packed up things and moved.
Wow. Jesus Christ. Sons are fucking diabolical, man. Sons are diabolical, man. Shout out to Big Larry. Sons are diabolical when it comes to this shit. Listen to this story, man. Listen to what the fuck this woman been through, and she's hanging outside on a corner with hundreds of people, black people, every day playing cards, smoking and drinking. Black people something else, man. They desensitized to a lot of shit, man. If this is what you're going through, you need to be in hiding.
The murder victim, because the state attorney's office and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office failed her.
Calvin Brown is distraught after his mother, Cassandra Brown, was shot in the head while sitting in a chair on the sidewalk at the intersection of Growth and Everson Street during a block party.
That is an everyday scene. They gather there, about 75 to 100 plus people every day, listening to music, playing cards, smoking, drinking, laughing, dancing every day.
Calvin claims the shooting was retaliation against his mother, who testified in a shooting case on the same street back in 2024 that put that person behind bars for 30 years. Now, Calvin says he thinks his mother's death is directly connected to her testifying in the case.
The dude chasing my mama around my cousin's car in that same location that she was shot and killed at.
Now,
with guns, he had came to our house. And this is why my mom packed up things and moved. This individual came to my mama's front door. This is an individual who sent threats from the jailhouse that he was going to kill my mama and the other lady who witnessed it.
According to Calvin, JSO was called each time there was an altercation or problem with the individual, who News4Jax is not naming, and police reports were made. We reached out to JSO and the state attorney's office regarding all of Calvin's claims. JSO says the investigation is ongoing and detectives continue to work diligently. Please note, next of kin notification was also made on this incident. We have yet to hear from the state attorney's office. Calvin says he believes there should have been more protection in place for his mother. So we spoke with crime expert Tom Hackney, and he says while there is protection for witnesses, the state level isn't as robust as it would be for federal trial.
It would be some protection before or during a trial, even to the point of potentially providing some security for them at their locations. But that all typically is surrounded with a trial. And once that trial happens, that coverage or protection usually kind of wanes away depending on the level of threats.
Hackney says that when being a witness, you have to take into consideration that law enforcement can help with that protection. But unfortunately, it's not a lifetime level of protection.
So you want somebody to come forward, and law enforcement, I spent 30 years coming to the media saying, hey, come forward if you know something, but there's a real life aspect to that exists of there could be harm that you're in the way of because of your testimony.
Calvin.
Damn, yo, that's not a good, this guy's not, yo. Fuck that. This is like a PSA against cooperating. This is like a PSA against cooperating in a trial, man. Jesus. Why cooperate after hearing this shit? Salute to Roy Williams. He says, for Caitlin Clark, at me to fund at me to fund for Caitlin Clark's at me to fund. Stay true up. Salute to Barry B, man. Barry B in the building. Shout out to Barry B. Shout out to Roy. Yeah, man. This is crazy, man.
He spoke with crime expert Tom Hackney, and he says while there is protection for witnesses, the state level isn't as robust as it would be for federal trial.
It would be some protection before or during a trial, even to the point of potentially providing some security for them at their locations. But that all typically is surrounded with a trial. And once that trial happens, that coverage or protection usually kind of wanes away depending on the level of threats.
Hackney says that when being a witness, you have to take into consideration that law enforcement can help with that protection. But unfortunately, it's not a lifetime level of protection.
So you want somebody to come forward, and law enforcement, I spent 30 years coming to the media saying, hey, come forward if you know something, but there's a real life aspect to that exists of there could be harm that you're in the way of because of your testimony.
Calvin says he spoke to his mother about staying away from the area after he learned of the altercations after her testimony. But he says his mom was strong-willed and a happy-go-lucky person.
And she said, baby, don't worry about me. I'm all right. She said, I'm all right. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me. Ain't nobody gonna hurt me. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me. I said, Mom, if this man does something to you, if anybody does anything to you, what am I supposed to do? You already know what I'm going to do. So please stay from up there. She said, baby, ain't nobody going to tell me how I'm supposed to live my life, where I'm supposed to go, or where I'm supposed to be at. And my mom has been that way her whole entire life.
In Jacksonville, Yvette Sanchez, Channel 4, the local station.
Damn. That's crazy. I had no idea what the story was about. This is crazy. It's bananas.
We do want to warn you that video is tough to watch, but friends believe it is the reason. You have 3 people in custody right now, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 21-year-old. Police late this afternoon confirming it was a family dispute that led up to the shooting right here in the middle of the street.
A single shot.
Ooh, he popped him.
Oh.
He just shot dude right there.
Recorded from a nearby apartment window, showing the aftermath of a deadly shooting in the middle of Bleach Street in downtown Milwaukee late Monday night. It appears an argument leads up to the gunfire.
He put it up to her and she said, don't shoot me. And he shot her. And she stumbled all the way over here. and she fell on the floor. And she just sat there shaking.
The video, too graphic to show, captures the victim stumble onto the sidewalk into someone's arms as first responders arrive.
Oh my God, they shot him, bro. They just shot him.
The victim, actually a woman, friends identifying her as 29-year-old Ashley Hudson.
And she lived over here?
Yeah, she lived up in those apartments.
Annalisa Thompson describes Hudson as a mother and supportive friend.
And it was just so messed up. It was so messed up, and they just took off, and they just didn't care.
The video showing the moment those involved in the argument get in this black car, then drive away. Right now, police have made 3 arrests, a 15-year-old boy, a 16-year-old girl, and a 21-year-old woman. Thompson says they are all related to Hudson.
To know that there are 3 people.
Jesus Christ. Yo, Black America is crazy, crazy. Jeez, 15, 16, and 21. All related to her, just smoked her and just drove off like nothing happened. And now we got to hear about the criminal justice system and how black people getting a raw deal. Jeez.
To know that there are 3 people in custody right now, how does that make you feel?
I feel great, and I feel like those videos are like all the evidence there needs to be.
And so, Hannah, this is just the latest in a string of shootings in downtown recently.
Right, Blake. Since June 8th, Milwaukee police have responded to 5 separate shootings here in the downtown area. On June 8th, there you had the quadruple shooting near MLK and McKinley. Police have not announced any arrests in that case just yet.
All right, that video just very difficult to watch. Hannah Hilley reporting live for us tonight at 5.
Wow. Wow. Jeez. Jesus Christ. Jeez.
A competency hearing was scheduled for Shaquille Taylor, the man accused of killing Belmont student Jillian Ludwig.
She was hit in the head by...
Jeez. Fucking Christ, man. God. Salute to Zachariah, Sands of the Sea, man. This is crazy. Look at this one. Look at this little white girl, man. Remember we did this story? Press 1 if you remember this. This is Tennessee, man. Little white girl minding her business in the park. Sun man shooting at another nigga blocks away, kills her with a stray bullet.
A competency hearing was scheduled for Shaquille Taylor, the man accused of killing Belmont student Jillian Ludwig.
She was hit in the head by a stray bullet in November of 2023 while out on a run in Edge Hill. The hearing today was set to determine if Taylor is fit to stand trial for the murder of Ludwig. We had crews in the courtroom today watching as friends and family and psychiatrists testified about his mental state and competency. We learned that since he was just a year and a half old, caregivers already had concerns about Taylor's development. He was placed in a special school and diagnosed with an intellectual disability.
If you think about what a typical 18-month-old is able to do in terms of language is very little. And yet his deficits were so severe and so obvious that even relative to other 18-month-olds who don't have a command of language yet, it was obvious that Mr. Taylor was not developing at the same.
Well, yeah, but God damn it, like Okay, so he had developmental problems when he was young, and I'm sympathetic to that. But what the fuck that got to do with this shit? What the fuck do that got to do with this? Him firing a gun recklessly in public and killing this girl. The fuck do him not learning how to talk on time have to do with this shit? I mean, really, like white women, I get it, you know. Salute the white women. White women are the salt of the earth, man. If it wasn't for white women, they probably would have castrated all the black male slaves in America. White women wouldn't let it happen. But what the fuck is she talking about? What the fuck do that got to do with this? Do this nigga know how to put his pants on? Now, this nigga put his shirt on his. If he puts his shirt on his legs and his pants over his head, and comes outside, then I'll say, all right, he crazy. But this motherfucker running around and, you know what I'm saying, like a typical son man, wearing Jordans and designer clothes and going to parties and hanging out in the hood and shooting dice. And I don't want to hear shit about how development delayed. Now, if this motherfucker just walking around, foaming at the mouth and shit and bumping in the trees, okay, fine. But if he a swagged out son man and was, you know, popping in the hood and shit, I don't hear shit about it took him a long time to talk when he was 18 months old. Press 1.
Intellectual disability.
If you think about what a typical 18-month-old is able to do in terms of language is very little. And yet his deficits were so severe and so obvious that even relative to other 18-month-olds who don't have a command of language yet, it was obvious that Mr. Taylor was not developing at the same sort of pathway.
And because Taylor has been in the legal system starting at 15 years old, they have a lot of background on him, which is why the hearing has lasted hours today. He was most recently found incompetent to stand trial for other charges back in 2023 and was released, which is when he allegedly killed Jillian.
If you think.
So, wait a second, man. I know he didn't just say this.
System starting at 15 years old. They have a lot of background on him, which is why the hearing has lasted hours today. He was most recently found incompetent to stand trial for other charges back in 2023 and was released, which is when he allegedly killed Jillian.
If you think about what a typical 18-month-old is able to do in terms of language is very little. And yet his deficits were so severe and so obvious that even relative to other 18-month-olds who don't have a command of language yet, it was obvious that Mr. Taylor was not developing at the same sort of pathway.
Yeah, but bitch, you fucking whore. He had just caught some other charges that they said he couldn't stand trial for, so they let him out on that. And then while out, after getting off on that, he killed somebody with a stray bullet. So the party's over, man. He got a lot of grace. That motherfucker probably walked across the stage for graduation. They probably gave this motherfucking nigga a diploma. Press 1 if you think they gave this nigga a diploma. At whatever school he went to. They probably gave this nigga a diploma. I wouldn't be surprised. So he's been living good, man, with whatever cognitive disorder he got. But now he killed somebody. And we're just gonna let him back out on the street again? And how do we know he got a cut? How do we know he's just not a Sun man on the far end of the spectrum? How do we know he not like, just like, how the bell curve? How we don't know he's just on the short side of the bell curve? But he's just a regular Sun man. Ain't shit wrong with him. He's a regular Sun man on the short side of the bell curve. And he perfectly know him. Ain't a motherfucking thing wrong with him.
(2023) and was released, which is when he allegedly killed Jillian.
If you think about what a typical 18-month-old is able to do in terms of language is very little. And yet his deficits were so severe and so obvious that even relative to other 18-month-olds who don't have a command of language yet, it was obvious that Mr. Taylor was not developing at the same sort of pathway.
Jillian's family has made it clear they want him to be found competent to stand trial. At points, they were audibly frustrated with some of the testimony. That hearing continues tomorrow. It's likely when we will get a decision in the case. Now, for context here, a law was passed stemming from Ludwig's death.
Now, nearly a year has passed since the law took effect, and our Steve Mailing checked in with state representatives to see how effective it's been so far.
After 18-year-old Jillian Ludwig was killed by a stray bullet while out jogging, ways to remember her popped up in different places, one of those being in the state legislature.
House Bill 1640, having received constitutional majority, everybody declare passed without objection.
When Jillian's law was passed and signed into law.
If it took her death for change to occur, that's just how it happened. I mean, that's just the way things went. Of course, it should have happened earlier.
Jillian's friend Gilda says that's because of the suspect, Shaquille Taylor's shocking criminal history.
It was this motion to dismiss that was filed back in 2023 that became much of the basis for Jillian's law. Shaquille Taylor was found not competent to stand trial on a different charge back then, but he did not meet the requirements to be involuntarily committed. That's what friends and family say led to Jillian's death here in Edge Hill.
This was not an isolated case. There were hundreds of people in the city of Nashville that had been let loose after being found incompetent to stand trial.
Jillian's law aimed to change this by making sure people with circumstances similar to Taylor got court-ordered treatment instead of being released with the charges dropped.
If somebody is a danger to society and they're not capable of standing trial, you're just going to let them out?
And since its passage, the Harold Jordan Center is now approved to up their bed capacity from 6 to 12. But victim advocates like Verna Wyatt argue it's nowhere near enough.
How much is enough? I mean, it just seems like it's an impossible situation. But even the impossible situations, if it's creating victims, it's something that needs to be addressed.
And taking effect this July 1st, new updates to the law, ensuring people cannot walk out on court-ordered treatment even while the charges are on hold. It also requires the court to be notified with an outpatient treatment plan that accounts for community safety should someone ruled incompetent to stand trial be released. For WSMV4, I'm Steve Mailing.
We will be following this story tomorrow as well. We have crews at the courthouse waiting to hear what decision the judge makes. We will bring you those live updates on air and on our free WSMV4 News app.
Aldous Orwell says, did you see Will Smith's awful new song music video where he tries to convince anybody in the world that he's not gay? Oh, man. I might have to check that out. This is bizarre, though, man. Like, this fucking guy.
Now to Operation Crime and Justice, determining whether the man police say shot and killed Belmont University student Jillian Ludwig is ready to go to trial.
Shaquille Taylor was in court today for the beginning of a mental competency hearing. Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino here to summarize the more than 8 hours of testimony.
Defense attorneys and psychologists say Shaquille Taylor has an intellectual disability that prevents him from understanding much beyond basic concepts, including the court process. They say it's this lack of comprehension that should keep him from being tried.
Competency to stand trial is not were they competent to commit the crime. It's also not, did they know the difference from right from wrong?
Before the Jillian Ludwig case, Taylor was charged with shooting into an occupied car. Those charges were dismissed after doctors said he operates on a kindergarten level. Months later, police say Taylor fired the bullet that killed Jillian Ludwig and then got rid of the weapon. Monday, attorneys challenged those court-appointed psychologists, asking how Taylor is able to make decisions every day and hold restaurant jobs.
I would think that most of those decisions are very simplistic. They're very concrete. They're things that you can see, you can touch, you can feel. They're not necessarily decisions about more abstract, problem-solving kinds of information.
Which would be along the lines of, after I have shot someone, how do I get out of this?
I'd have to think about that.
Jillian Ludwig's family and supporters.
Jesus Christ.
Which would be along the lines of, after I have shot someone, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, this
very simple.
This was hilarious, man. These white liberal women are fucking hilarious. Being a white liberal woman is like literally being a comedian. Listen to her.
I think that most of those decisions are very simplistic. They're very concrete. They're things that you can see, you can touch, you can feel. They're not necessarily decisions about more abstract, problem-solving kinds of information.
Which would be along the lines of, after I have shot someone, how do I get out of this?
I'd have to think about that.
Jillian Ludwig's family and supporters listened from the front row, at times expressing frustration at the responses from the psychologists.
Justice for Jill!
They want Taylor to face a trial and go to prison if convicted. Now, if Taylor is found incompetent, he'll remain in a mental health facility after a new state law passed in Jillian's name now requires offenders to be committed if they're unfit for trial. The hearing continues tomorrow when the prosecution will bring its set of witnesses. Likely several doctors who have evaluated Shaquille Taylor themselves will certainly be there for any decisions the judge may hand down. In Nashville, I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Jillian Ludwig's family's also filed a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit. Defendants in that case include the city of Nashville, the state of Tennessee.
Wow. Wow.
We're learning more about a shooting over the weekend in Madison. It left a mother and her children hurt. Thanks for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Lauren Lowry.
And I'm Jeremy Finley. Tragically, one of the mother's children, her 4-year-old, died. Jordan James just caught up with a neighbor who helped shelter 2 of her other children from danger.
Tonight, as that mother recovers here in the hospital, neighbors are recalling the moments leading up to this tragedy, which has left many of them reeling from the impact.
With cars passing by, time stands still on Westchester Drive.
And it's just been a spaced out 36 hours or however long it's been.
As neighbors grapple with grief after the death of a 4-year-old girl who was among 3 other children and their mother shot Saturday.
Like I say, I've experienced several tragic incidents that I've been a part of and seen some things, but I've never seen a kid shot.
That all changed after this man, who prefers not to be identified, says two of the children showed up on his doorstep following the gunfire.
Little boy, blood came out his mouth, right? And so that triggered me in a different way, and I just reacted different. And I'm like, okay, now we need to get to the hospital.
While en route to the hospital with him, dispatch reportedly had him go back home and waited for the paramedics. Once there, concerns lingered, not knowing if they would survive.
At the time, I was really in my own feelings about maybe the fact that I was the last one to have held this little boy.
The suspect, Jovian Smith, who is the mother's boyfriend, was arrested and charged with multiple counts of criminal homicide, aggravated assault, and burglary. Meanwhile, the impact will be felt across this community for the days to come.
And it's not really any getting rid of the thought of it so far, right? Because from at home, there was some blood in there. I get in my car, there's some memories of it in there.
Now, I did have a chance to speak with a relative of the mother who tells me they're turning to their faith during this time and hope to start some sort of fundraiser to support her and the family during this time. Reporting here in Madison, Jordan James, WSMV4.
Wow. Some of these stories just leave you speechless. Jesus Christ.
Nashville family has been torn apart after Metro Police say a mother was killed by her husband over the weekend. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lauren Lowry.
I'm Tracy Cornett.
And I'm Marius Payton. Today we've learned that woman was a beloved high school teacher.
And as WSMV's Brendan Tierney reports, she made a difference in the lives of countless students.
A Nashville teacher was shot and killed in her home here on Sunday morning by her husband in what Metro Police say was a murder-suicide. These tennis courts are where Anna Pierce worked tirelessly, coaching students from Hunters Lane High School. The biology teacher spent 7 years in the classroom until a tragedy took her life. Metro Police say Anna was murdered by her husband, Stephen Pierce, when the couple was fighting about a divorce and financial issues at their Midtown condo. Investigators also found Stephen dead, lying on top of a revolver. Hunters Lane principal Dr. Sue Kessler says Anna was beloved by her 9th graders, saying, quote, "She was convinced that the relationship she built with students would help them through graduation and beyond." On top of growing the tennis program, Anna was a mentor to other teachers while working to get certified to be a principal. Kessler says we will miss Miss Pierce's commitment to kids, love of our school, and her dedication. School leaders say Anna had 2 girls, and Metro Police say they had never been called about domestic violence issues. In Midtown, Brendan Tierney, WSMV4.
Tonight, a former leader in Brentwood's Remnant Fellowship says it's time for the church to come clean about its role in the child abuse death of a young boy. Good evening, I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Carrie Sharp. Michael Shamblin, the son of controversial religious figure Gwen Shamblin, says Remnant Fellowship needs to acknowledge what he now realizes, that 8-year-old Joseph Smith did not have to die.
This is a case that News Channel 5 chief investigative reporter Phil Williams has been tracking for 2 decades. Phil, this is really a full circle moment for you.
Indeed, it has been. My investigation first raised questions about little Joseph's death back in 2004. Now Michael Shamblin tells me the church needs to ask itself the same questions that I had for his mother.
This is God's word. I didn't come up with spankings. And the Bible says, do not spare the rod or spoil the child.
This was the beginning of my investigation 20 years ago, focusing on the child abuse death of 8-year-old Joseph Smith from Atlanta. His parents, Joseph and Sonia Smith, were charged with his murder, with investigators noting that the child had extensive bruising over his entire body. But the Smiths showed no remorse. They felt it was just a part of discipline and were very defensive about their religion. The Smiths were members of Brentwood's Remnant Fellowship. The church paid their legal bills, and it still operates a website called The Smiths Are Innocent, 17 years since they were convicted by a jury and sentenced to life in prison.
So I feel like my life has been a life of discovery. I didn't know at the time. We were going along with it.
Michael Shamblin was there when I confronted his mother, Remnant founder Gwen Shamblin, and church leader Ted Anger about little Joseph's death.
The child ran into a banister. The head swelled up. That child had a seizure. They called 911. The child passed away in a hospital.
Did she really believe that?
She was scared. This had just happened. I think she was coming up with doing whatever she could to protect herself and the church.
Years later, reviewing the conviction, Georgia's Supreme Court would note that Joseph and Sonia Smith routinely disciplined their son Joseph by beating him with glue sticks, belts, and heated coat hangers, locking him in confined spaces for extended periods of time, and tying his hands with rope. Michael Shamblin's view now?
The courts had all the evidence, and they decided that the Smiths murdered their son, and they're in prison to this day. So I now think something did happen to little Joseph.
Do you view little Joseph as a victim of Remnant, of Gwen?
I believe had they never joined Remnant, little Joseph could very possibly be alive today. Let's put it that way.
Children that were lost and out of control are now back under the authority of their loving parents.
For Gwen Shamblin, well-behaved children were a sign of holiness that could be achieved through severe corporal punishment.
If they're not scared of a spanking, you haven't spanked them. If you haven't really spanked them yet, you don't love them. You love yourself.
Yet Remnant has still refused to acknowledge what my investigation had uncovered.
Does Remnant advocate repeated spankings of children over and over and over?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
Look, I was there in the sanctuary when David Martin made that now infamous line about the showdown spanking.
David Martin was one of Remnant's top leaders.
A year ago, our 2.5-year-old Avery, we had a real showdown with her, and we had a leg spanking over and over and over and over and over and over again. And time one evening.
David Martin had a real showdown. It was a one-night showdown, and that child never forgot it.
Are you asking, does that go on very often? Are you kidding? No, it does not. It is so rare. And it is only strong-willed children.
Little Joseph was, by all accounts, a child who may have suffered from mental illness.
A Remnant's view of mental illness would be, there is no mental illness. They would just say, you must be doing something wrong before God.
Tell me about the use of glue sticks to spank children.
Was not from here. It came from a member somewhere, someplace else, because it went around.
I never actually saw a child being whipped with a glue stick, but knowing what I know now, like looking back, I know that some leaders did talk about using glue sticks.
Does Remnant advocate locking children up for lengthy periods of time?
We don't advocate locking them up for any period of time.
From what I've learned since then, I absolutely think people have taken away everything except Remnant materials and put people in a room, things like that.
And we have the recording.
I have a recording.
I did exactly what Ted told me to do, take everything out of his room. We got everything out of there and locked him in there from that Friday until Monday and only left him in the room with his Bible.
That tape has been made or tampered or whatever. I totally deny
That is
that has ever been said by anyone.
And that's a miracle. You've got a child that's going from just bizarre down to in control. So praise God.
And you had a chance to tell her that was not correct.
That was not on there.
Instead, you said, praise the Lord.
No, that was not on there.
So I'll go back to when you said in your original interview.
Do you think it's possible that you have inadvertently encouraged child abuse?
No.
I agree with that now. I always agreed with it. I always felt like what you were saying, and she would not let you talk and she would interrupt you. But you were saying, could somebody take these teachings to an extreme? Is that possible? That's all you were asking.
And thank you for Gwen, Almighty God. And
3 years after Gwen Shamblin's death, Remnant members still speak of her as a prophetic figure, and the Smiths are viewed as martyrs for the faith.
When they call in, the people at Remnant, they go crazy clapping every time Joseph or Sonia calls in.
And anyone in the church would agree with me, I believe.
Michael Shamblin, who was also once considered a Remnant leader, says the church is overdue for a reckoning over what happened to an innocent Remnant child.
The first step in most of these situations, it's acknowledgement.
Admit you have a problem.
Yes. And I would say, let's start, Remnant, let's start with acknowledgement of there have been imperfect situations in this church, lots of them. We have to come to grips with that. They have to. Gwen was fallible. She was a human. She wasn't God, or she wasn't some, divine. She was human and made a lot of mistakes. People have been hurt in various ways from Gwen, from this whole thing. Joseph and Siani's life changed drastically. Little Joseph is dead. Take the damn filter off. Get real. Let's get real for once and quit pretending to be the perfect place. Then we can talk.
The Remnant Fellowship has still not responded to my inquiries, although church leaders have been telling members to, quote, focus on the fruit. That means to look at all the weight they've lost and other positive changes in their lives, which they say means that Remnant is, quote, from God. Of course, Michael Shamblin says if you really want to see the fruit, you need to look at what happened to little Joseph, as well as all the shattered lives of those who have left what he calls a cult.
Phil, I'm so curious. Michael was once all in. What has all of this done to his faith?
Well, in a word, broken. He says that it has completely broken his sense of trust in organized religion, but he now takes comfort in building bonds with other former Remnant members, and he's hoping more will actually reach out. He's on social media as Michael S. Black.
He's really starting a new life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And really brave of him.
Absolutely.
Sit down and be so honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt about it, because it's breaking from his past life.
Yeah. Phil, thanks. And by the way, if you missed any of Phil's interview with Michael, you'll want to watch. You can watch them all right now on newschannel5.com/investigates.
Oh my God, man. Oh man.
What News 4 Investigates has uncovered tonight raises questions about the qualifications of the pilot at the helm of a deadly plane crash. That pilot, Joe Lara, his wife, and 5 other members of Remnant Church died when the plane crashed into Percy Priest Lake on May 29th. We've obtained documents, audio, and video about Lara introduced in court before the crash. Our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley, obtained all this. And Jeremy, why was this all introduced in court?
Well, Marius, it was part of a contentious child support case in which the mother of Lara's young daughter tried to prevent him from flying their daughter before the crash.
Get some help. Please get some help. You're a sick, sick girl.
That's Joe Lara,
Get some help. Get some help.
recorded by his ex-girlfriend, Natasha.
No way he's telling someone to get some help. That motherfucker look crazy as the son of a bitch.
Get some help. Please get some help. You're a sick, sick girl.
That's Joe Lara,
Get some help. Get some help.
recorded by his ex-girlfriend, Natasha Pavlovich, one of several contentious videos introduced in their battle over child support for their daughter. A battle that revealed questions about whether Lara was qualified to be piloting a plane the day of the deadly crash. And it's all about this, a medical certificate. It determines if a pilot is healthy enough to fly. Once it's granted, it's good for 2 years for someone of Lara's age. The first red flag introduced in court, if Lara's was active. The FAA's database at the time of the crash showed it wasn't. But his wife's church, Remnant Fellowship, gave News 4 Investigates what they said was an active second-class medical certificate. Now listen to what Lara testified in court in the month before the crash about that certificate.
My second class medical expired.
So wait a minute. Lara testified it expired, but the church document shows it was still in effect? And there's more. In 2015, in sworn testimony, Lara is asked about any medical condition for which his California medical marijuana card was issued. His response, insomnia. Now look at the FAA's rules. Medical conditions that chronically interfere with sleep are disqualifying, regardless of whether a sleep aid is used or not. And pilots should not be issued medical certificates for anyone using medicinal marijuana. Lara responded in court the last time he smoked marijuana was 2015. But in Pavlovich's emails to try and prevent him from flying their daughter, citing legitimate concerns for her safety, she cites her daughter finding pipes in her father's bedroom in 2019 and her father smelling like weed the same year. All right, according to the NTSB, Lara did have an active second-class medical certificate. But did the FAA and the NTSB know about what was revealed in court? All the NTSB will say is that Lara's health is part of their investigation. We also reached out to the church and Lara's attorney requesting comment. Only the attorney responded saying he could not comment because this is a confidential juvenile court proceeding, and the church did not answer our question about that certificate. Marius.
Jeremy, it is jaw-dropping what you just found out, but it's also important to note that we don't know what caused the crash.
Well, that's right. It's important to say that we don't know. The NTSB has not finished their investigation, and we don't know if Lara's health has anything to do with it. But regardless, there are questions about that certificate.
Jeez.
Now, for the first time, members of the Remnant Fellowship Church are talking since the crash. In an interview you will only see here on News 4, they agreed to speak with our Marissa Sulik. Marissa, how are they handling this tragedy tonight?
Well, Marius, the couple I spoke with today say the deceased weren't just their fellow church members. They consider them family. In fact, they live right down the road from Gwen and Joe Lara, who they say influenced them to move to Tennessee from Texas 10 years ago.
So you've got to ask yourself again, what makes you happy?
Within moments, it becomes obvious how Gwen Lara impacted Tiffany and Rob Day.
Just became best friends. She was best friends with all of us. It's, easy for the entire church. It's easy for a congregation to all know one pastor. But our pastor, she knew each of us by name. She knew our dogs' names. She knew our children, our grandchildren's names.
You can prove it that you've turned to God.
Lara not only founded this church, but the Way Down Workshop. a workshop Tiffany credits to her weight loss journey after having kids.
And I lost 50 pounds in that Bible study. It was a 12-week Bible study.
The couple became so involved, they moved from Texas to Brentwood to raise their 5 children, living just down the street from Gwen and Joe Laura.
Wow.
Even with the loss of the Lauras and the 5 other members of their church family, the Day Save Faith is pulling them through.
When I think of, the 7 people, it's a tragedy of what happened, but everyone who knew them, their lives were changed as a result of the lives that they lived. Gwen always taught us that you're not promised tomorrow. I guarantee you every single one of us understands that more than we ever did, 2 days ago, which I think is going to propel us to do more with each day we're given. And so we'll be stronger.
A stronger and a more unified congregation that will live on thanks to its foundation.
Now, it's important to note that.
Damn. Damn. That's crazy. All this shit goes on, and we live in our little lives and we don't even fucking know. Damn.
A 10 on your side success tonight involving one woman's dispute with a multi-billion international company. A month ago, we introduced you to Shannon Woodruff. She broke her tooth eating a breakfast sandwich at a Virginia Beach McDonald's and contacted 10 on your side for help. 10 on your side's Chris Horn has an update in her case.
I'm just thankful that they're doing the right things.
Shannon Woodruff of Virginia Beach is loving the fact that she will get $1,200 from McDonald's to pay for her dental bills.
I was actually really shocked because I don't want to sue anybody. Things happen. I'm not a part of the dog eat dog world.
No, she was part of the person eating sausage biscuit world in early March. When Woodruff bit into the breakfast sandwich, she broke a molar. She showed us a piece of it last month. She wasn't getting anywhere and contacted 10 on your side, and we got through to one of the largest companies on the planet.
Once I contacted y'all on a whim in the middle of the night, and I didn't think y'all were going to call me back. And the next morning you called me, I was like, get out of town. And then within 2 weeks, everything's okay.
But was Woodruff's tooth healthy before she bit into that bad biscuit? McDonald's wanted proof. Woodruff had it. She had visited the dentist just 2 weeks before.
Nothing was wrong with the tooth at all.
And your dentist certified that, right?
Yeah, with the letter.
McDonald's has agreed to settle for $1,200. Woodruff's dental bills, including a crown for that broken molar, totaled about $700.
$1,200, man. I'd have tried to hit McDonald's for $12 million. Press 1. $1,200. Shit. She's a nice lady, man. I'd have been loving it. I'd have fucking sued Ronald McDonald for his fucking red wig and his fucking red nose. The fuck? I'd have sued the yellow overalls off McDonald's. $1,200, shit.
Certified that, right?
Yeah, with the letter.
McDonald's has agreed to settle for $1,200. Woodruff's dental bills, including a crown for that broken molar, totaled about $700. That extra $500 will come in handy after she had to miss work for several days.
Yeah, I don't think I would have gotten the money. I'm very thankful I contacted y'all. I would have been fighting. I would have probably not gotten anything.
That was Chris Horn reporting. Woodruff says she will continue to DoorDash for that McDonald's and will continue to eat there as well.
Damn. Okay. Okay.
Surgery so rare that only 10 are done each year in the U.S. A construction worker who didn't want to be on camera lost his thumb in an accident at work. But rather than replace it with a prosthetic, he chose to have the surgeon replace it with a toe. I sat down with the surgeon to talk about it and must warn you that some of this video might be disturbing. It was an accident that could have jeopardized this patient's career.
He had a big metal beam or sheet that fell on his thumb and basically amputated it. So he got amputated basically at that level right there.
Saving the thumb was the initial goal, but while they tried to reattach the bones, the nerves, and the tendons, the damage was so bad it was impossible.
And if you get blood flow to one part of it, the rest of it's crushed. It's just too much zone of injury to the entire part.
They discussed replacing it with a prosthetic, which the patient later decided against.
You have to take it off and on, and sometimes you need different kinds of prosthetics depending on the kind of task at hand.
For a more permanent solution, he decided to replace the thumb with a toe, his second toe to be precise.
So the decision to do the toe, is that common?
No, it's not. It's not common at all.
It is common, however, in other places of the world. Dr. Nigam, who had done a hand fellowship, had performed a similar procedure in his training, but this time it was his patient. The process, truly amazing.
You're transferring one bone to another bone to try to get them to heal together. But we hook up an artery and a vein, so it comes with its own blood supply. So it's trying to grow into the body as much as the body's trying to grow into it, which is kind of cool.
The thumb is really the most complex of all fingers just because it can move in so many more ways than the others.
But your thumb has flexion, extension at the joints, opposition. It's not just hooking up the nerves and the arteries and the veins, but actually setting the bone in the right spot.
He also wove the tendons in a special way to make the tension a bit tighter and stronger. Dr. Nigam still can't get over the details he's had to consider during surgery.
A decision you're making in 2 minutes that could affect somebody for the rest of their life.
Surgery took 9 hours and went without a hitch. This Thursday will be 4 weeks post-op. Nigam says he's not sure the patient has really processed the change yet.
I think that once we get in full weight bearing, I think that that'll be a big step in the right direction to helping him see, oh, wow, like this is my thumb.
According to the doctor, the stitches will come out in 4 to 6 weeks, and then the patient will be able to put their full weight on their foot. In the meantime, they started the patient on aggressive therapy and movement so far in the new thumb.
My God.
Is looking good.
Wow. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Hard to get by with just a smile, girl. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. I always look at you like a child, girl. Man, salute to everybody, man. Great show, man. I guess I'll come back tomorrow. I may do a Caitlin Clark live stream tomorrow, man. During the day, man. Same black time, same black channel. I'm out of here. Subscribe to the channel.